There, now my seat's back. Hey, that time just right, and it just sounds like it just really let one out at the beginning of this. Oh yeah, that's some good graveyard. Okay.
I thought you were saying gravy.
Well, it started out as gravy. My favorite part of this particular movie was, I don't know, like maybe a half hour, 40 minutes into it or something like that, when I got on my phone to put a blog post over on YouTube just advertising that we're going to be doing this review. And he just looked at me and just, you didn't know what I was doing. You just looked at me and went like, oh no, if you put that down, if I got to watch this, you got to watch this too.
This is your idea.
Oh honey, they all assume this was my idea. So this is a movie that's called Pet Graveyard. I get a lot of movies like this that are already someone in the chat's like, you sure you didn't mean cemetery? Oh, I'm sure.
Are you sure?
Wait, are you... I get a lot of movies like this. It's sent to me like screeners. Just like, are you interested in watching this? Typically, between the stuff that I gotta see out in theaters anyway, and whatever I'm watching on The Snob or any TV show I'm watching or something like that. More often than not, I just simply don't have time to watch a majority of the screeners that are sent to me. But every once in a while, I'll be like, okay, that looks like, that's at least an eye-grabbing title. That looks like something that might be worth slightly talking about. Like when we reviewed One Nation Under God.
Oh, yeah.
Or that thriller that had David Spade in it, Warning Shot. And then, so sure enough, in my email, it's like in all caps, like Pet Graveyard, would you like a screener? I'm like, oh, do you have to ask? I wrote back and I'm like, absolutely I would. Please send this to me. It didn't take them very long, and I got one. And it all kind of worked out too, because we're doing C2E2 this weekend. Like, we're heading out of town tomorrow, so I'm gonna try to see Us tomorrow night, which is the big movie that's coming out this weekend. But I'm like, okay, we need something to put on, like, just in the meantime. Oh, perfect, right, I have that screener for Pet Graveyard. Now, if you've seen the like cover of this pop up or mentioned anywhere, if you've seen anyone review it, you may have seen, like, okay, the title of it is Pet Graveyard. Right before the Pet Sematary remake comes out, it's got a cover where it's it's a cemetery on the cover. There's a cat, a hairless cat on the cover,
glowing red eyes
and everything says Pet Graveyard. So of course, when you sit down to watch the movie, you find that this is indeed a ripoff of Flatliners. And Final Destination, a little bit of Nightmare on Elm Street thrown in there as well.
I was thinking it was going to go for the Final Destination route, but it didn't really. I guess a
bit.
little bit.
Like, not in that, like, it's inanimate objects that are coming out and killing them, but not... Here,
you cheat death, you know.
Yeah, it does that. So, okay, the basic gist of this movie is that it's about this group of friends who... They do they've each lost someone in their life, so they do this ritual, and we'll get into more specifics about a lot of this here in a little bit, but to sum it all up, they do this ritual that will they'll be technically dead. Flatliners! I'm describing Flatliners! It's that. And then on the other side, in purgatory, they see, like, the girl sees her little brother, the dude sees his mom, dude sees his girlfriend who died. And then when they come back, since they have cheated death, death appears in, like, this big cloak and this mask, and it's kind of a slasher movie a little bit. Like, because they cheated death, he shows up and will kill them, and right beforehand his cat will show up as well. And apparently, like, with a movie like this, sometimes you figure, like, this was probably not, like, the title that this movie started out as.
No, definitely not.
I was talking to Scott Foy, who also saw this movie, who I'm sure got the same screener that sent to him that I did. So he watched it about a week before I did, and he was writing to me about it, and he said He goes, yeah, as far as the title goes, apparently this started out with the working title of Mummy, which makes less sense. Like, okay, there is technically a graveyard in this, because when they're doing their ritual, it's in this church in a graveyard. It's not a pet graveyard, but there is a graveyard, and there is a hairless cat who pops up sometimes in the movie. There is a hairless cat, so there is a pet in this movie, and there is a graveyard. The only thing I could figure, like, with the Mummy is maybe that's who the death figure was supposed to be in some iteration of this script. Maybe at some point in this script, that character looked more like a mummy than the Grim Reaper.
I guess so. I don't know. Yeah, Mummy makes less sense. At least there's a cat in this one, where that could be a pet graveyard. But
well, maybe once the Dark Universe didn't quite take off.
Like, maybe we should just rip off another movie that's really successful.
What else is coming out? All right.
Yeah.
Pet Sematary. That'll work.
I like the cat's eyes would just glow, and it'd be like supposed to be really intimidating. And I'm like, this cat's like
the cat's adorable. Cute. The cat shows up before any of them will get killed, before death will show up to attack one of them. The hairless cat, it'll just cut to like the hairless cat there, and they, with these effects that are fine, like they make the cat's eyes glow red, but it's adorable. It's this adorable hairless cat that shows up a few times in it.
You'll be like, step away from her, and the cat's like,
the cat's just like, the cat, as much as like there are plenty scenes where it feels like there's the same footage of the cat spliced in there a few times.
It's not like it's hissing or anything. It's just like, and it's just like kind of circling or something.
Yeah, he'll be walking out of the room. Sometimes, a few times they use just some shots of him around the graveyard. Then he'll be like with the guy in his room. He'll be on the bed and he'll leave that. So the cat has like more to do with this than like that dog in that Christmas puppy movie that I watched.
Oh yeah, totally.
Like, it's like, okay, I can twist my head and with enough logic, all right, I'm kind of following this a little bit. But the cat is the cat's the most adorable part of this movie. Really, the most unrealistic thing about this film is not that I'm going into this with walking into it thinking it's gonna have any semblance of realism anyway, but the main guy in the movie, the one who like starts this whole thing, we need to get together, we need to suffocate ourselves and be dead for like a minute or two and come back.
A timer for 5 minutes, I think.
Oh yeah. So he is he's been dealing with losing his mom, and because of that, he becomes like a famous YouTuber.
Oh yeah, that's where you're going. Yeah, there's a lot of things that don't make sense.
So he ends up becoming like he becomes an adrenaline junkie because of the loss he has. So he's like free hanging off of buildings. He appears to become very, very YouTube famous or internet famous. Yeah. So that's why that's one reason why he wants to do this thing, so he can actually film it and put it online, them doing this challenge.
You know how many hits we're gonna get with this?
You know how many hits we're gonna get with this video of us suffocating ourselves and dying? And they call it brinking, like they give it a name, like it's a challenge, like it's one of the internet and that was, I think that kind of, I don't think it was called brinking, but I think there was like a suffocation challenge like a few years ago.
There's always something really stupid.
Yeah.
There's always a stupid challenge out there that'll make you kill yourself.
Oh yeah, definitely. Like the light myself on fire challenge.
Yeah.
I've seen that video. So like, and I'm sitting there watching and going like, okay, I know this is just me. Like a lot of people won't necessarily think about this, but I'm sitting there going like, YouTube's kind of caught on to a lot of things like this. Like there was a lot when that Tide Pod challenge thing was going on. Yeah. There were a lot of videos that YouTube was not letting fly during that Tide Pod challenge. I'm like, okay, like even if I'm to buy this argument that this guy's gonna put up this video of them like suffocating each other and clinically being dead, at the very least you are gonna lose your monetization off of that. That's just me. Like, I don't know, maybe like this guy, maybe
live leak, bro.
Yeah, it's just like he puts it on, have him jack off on it, you put it on Pornhub or something. Even they would be like, I don't know. Like the Lego movie porn, that's one thing. This is like maybe a little bit too much. So he's doing this all for a video.
Well, he says it's for that, but it's also he does want to see his mom again and say goodbye.
He does. They work in like the YouTube like video angle and everything with that in the movie. And the way that the movie is, by and large, like the way the movie looks is, I mean, you can probably kind of see it in your head, like the kind of budget that this movie may have, and it looks fine.
It doesn't look like, like a really low budget or anything. I think it looks pretty fine. Yeah,
yeah, I mean, it looks...
The acting's fine.
Yeah, the acting's fine. There's, I couldn't quite nail it, and they might have mentioned it. I could have just missed it, but I couldn't quite nail down where this is supposed to be taking place because there's a bunch of
England.
There's a bunch of different accents in the movie, and some actors who are they're serviceable for this material they have. They're fine. There's a few where their accents are like totally slipping out.
Yeah, I couldn't tell. Did you look up if that actor was English or?
It had to be something because there was an accent that he had that he was He was playing an American, but there was some kind of accent that was slipping through there every now and then. But I mean, by and large, a movie like this, unless something like really, really jumps out at me on like a technical level, like I'm not gonna go down that hard on most things. There
was one part where there's this guy and he's closing down this
store,
closing down this store, and his name tag is "Hello, my name is Francis," like one of those like party name tags that you stick on there like a sticker. It's like, okay.
So if I ever do talk, yeah, exactly. That was my favorite part of this movie.
That was hilarious. It's like, I guess he changes his name tag every day.
Yeah, like, so if something like really jumps out at me like that, like I'll really mention it. And there were a couple of things, like, this is about a 98-minute movie, and there's a lot of it that could have been really, really tightened. Especially, like, the opening scene, which goes on for about 8 or 9 minutes, it feels like, and really could have been edited down to just a few, because what happens is there's a couple of people who are being chased by this Grim Reaper figure or whatever, something's chasing them. They end up in a garage to get the car fixed, and then the dude who's injured and just about to die goes into the sunken place, basically, and then the two at the beginning end up dying before the credits. But it should have been tightened severely, because as long as this is kind of going on, the lady who works at the shop is on the phone with the police, and she's like, it keeps cutting back to her over like quite a while, just going like, please send help, please, please. And I'm like, are they not believing her or something?
She has to convince the police.
Yeah, like, I don't know, man. Like, I can't talk to you about this any longer. I've been talking 10 minutes. Please send help. It could have been trying quite a bit, but that part with the guy who works in an arcade, and he's one of the main dudes in the movie. He's working in an arcade. He's about to close down for the night. The cat shows up. The Grim Reaper shows up. His first line in that scene is, "Hey, I'm closing down for the night." So, like, already I got that he works there.
Yeah.
There's no reason he's got, like, this class reunion sticker on, like, public event, like, "Hello, my name is," and then written on there like you would get, like, at a party store. It's not, if he had nothing on and was just wearing his shirt, it's not like I would be sitting there going like, wait a minute. He said he works there. Where's his name tag? Like, no.
I know, the name tag made it way more distracting. When they were doing the timer for that, and it was just like for 5 minutes, and then it would just go like a minute, and she already suffocated like 3 people or something. And I'm like, it takes longer than a minute to suffocate 3 people.
Well, it looked like they kept cutting to around the same couple of shots of the timers, and they weren't really going down that much, like, if at all. In fact, at one point, it's still set at like 3 minutes, and then it goes off. Like something like that jumped out at me, because I'm like, from the really micro-budgeted movies that I've done to ones that I've produced or written that have, a much bigger budget than something we've done like Disco or a movie like that, like it's Snob Movie 2, which has the biggest budget we've worked with, like around $100,000. So even in like that, I'm like, that's a really quick fix. I mean, we've on all kinds of our projects, we've done that before. We've had to replace this like a stock shot, or not like that it's stock footage, but just like a little shot like that, that you could, that's a really quick fix that you could just get another shot of a damn timer and put there in the movie. But, you know, I mean, the movie was...
It's a movie. Well, it felt really long for me because I just got off work. And
I was tired too.
We both got off work, and I got home, and I was like, I guess I'm gonna still do this.
Yeah, me getting off work is just going from my editing room over to the couch in the living room.
Well, whatever. We were both, you know what I mean.
Yeah, I was editing all day today, I was tired.
And I'm getting over this cold that will not go away.
Oh yeah, on the way here, I was like, you were coughing. I'm like, are you sure you want to talk about this? And you're like, well, I watched it. I'm gonna talk about it.
Like, I might as well go through with this.
Right.
Yeah, and I'm like, let's just do it. Like, I already sat through a 98-minute movie.
Yeah, it's mostly, I was mostly tired during the movie. I could see where everything was going. I could see who was gonna die, who was maybe gonna make it towards the end. Even when it got towards the end, I'm like, I know what the final scene's gonna be. I know what the final shot is gonna be before it cuts to the credits. And yeah, it pretty much exactly played out that way. It's a movie. When I was watching it, I was like, this movie could be just a little thing about just having a sense of humor could have like made all the difference, especially when you have this silly plot that's a knockoff of Flatliners. That's really no worse than the Flatliners remake, to be perfectly honest. Like, so you have this movie that's a takeoff of Flatliners, Final Destination. I mean, it's called Pet Graveyard.
It's already ripping off a name, sort of. So
yeah, like just. And having this character who is this, like, YouTuber who's doing these daredevils and is, like, partly doing a lot of this for the views, it's played totally straight. As ridiculous as all that is, it's played totally straight. If they took that and really kind of ran with it, like, with a little bit of a sense of humor, with a little bit of satire to it...
That would have been funny.
They could have had something with some of this. A little bit. Go ahead, sorry.
Oh, I was just agreeing with you. That would have made it
Thank you.
What was that? I never agree with him.
Especially on Mockbusters. I hate them. She loves them.
You're the one that makes me see all... Well, you don't make me, but you...
You will sit down and watch this.
But... what was I talking... Sorry. What were we talking about?
No, we were done. Bye. Nah, it's as far as like, you know, Mockbusters like this go, to be perfectly honest, I really haven't. I used to watch these a lot, like when like kind of the height of this modern day kind of like I know like so Mockbusters have existed for decades, but of this kind of modern one, your Snakes on a Train, your I Am Omega, your I Am Omega, The Woods Have Eyes, things like that. Like that. I mean, I used to kind of see a lot more of these than I do now. Really, it's probably been a while since I watched one, and this one, it exists. Really, I
feel like I would get this at Blockbuster as like a teenage, like a preteen or something, you know?
You watch a movie like this because you kind of expect you might get like a laugh out of it, really, or like maybe you'd get it for like a party movie. Yeah. And this, I don't know if this really fills that. Like, I mean, it's I've seen ones that are worse, but even ones I've seen that are maybe like on a technical level worse than this, they'd maybe be more entertaining than this. This one's played pretty straight.
Yeah, I agree with that.
And while, like, you know, you watch a bad movie that's playing it straight, we see movies like that all the time that do that and can be unintentionally funny. This one doesn't really cross over into that.
It's really not worth seeing, I guess.
If this is the kind of movie you're looking for, there's probably more entertaining ones you could stumble across than this, but it is what it is.
If you're just bored and you're at a party with friends, you're like smoking or drinking or something, you're just like, okay, why not?
This movie is not going to help any of that.
I don't don't know. Like, if you're just not even paying attention, I guess.
Put on Pet Sematary 2. The one where they bury Clancy Brown and he comes back and kills the kid with a motorcycle. That is way more entertaining than this.
Yeah, I know. I'm just like, I'm trying to not trash this movie. But, you know, there's better things out there, basically.
We could have been watching Benchwarmers 2.
Right. Oh, God.
We didn't have time to watch Benchwarmers 2. Yeah, but I'm not making that movie up, by the way. There is a Benchwarmers 2 out right now with Chris Klein.
I wasn't mad at this movie. I was just like...
I was just kind of like waiting for it to get over, so we're like, all right, let's review this.
So we can
just
sleep.
Lay down and crash and head out of town tomorrow. So, all right, everyone. That was Pet Graveyard. We'll be at C2E2 all weekend long, so come check us out there. Follow us on Twitter as well at the Cinema Snob. Click on our little Lloyd icon down there. Subscribe to our channel and visit wizardworld.com. We're gonna.
I was just thinking, what if Lloyd was in the pet cemetery or pet graveyard?
Hairless Lloyd?
No, not hairless Lloyd, just big Lloyd.
Lloyd only works indoors. He's quite a diva. He will only shoot in his trailer, and his trailer is his house.
Sorry, I just was thinking about that. I was like, that'd be so funny.
I was thinking about Lloyd all during this movie. Whenever the cat showed up, I would just be like, Lloyd, come watch the movie with his buddy. He came in towards the very end of the film and then left immediately afterwards. So.
It's offensive to my species.
Oh, you don't know the half of it, Lloyd.
Anyway, sorry.
Lloyd, your bar is really off considering like you're a Siamese cat and the Aristocats exist. But all right, we'll be at Wizard World St. Louis from Mike Phelan from Fanbolt thanks for the donation. He got a screener sent to him as well. I imagine a lot of us did, because Foy did. He got one. He saw it before. He saw it about a week or so ago. So come see us at Wizard World April 5th through the 7th. Get your tickets at wizardworld.com on that Saturday, the 6th. We're doing an after-hours screening of Jesus Bro. And get your tickets on wizardworld.com. Use our promo code CINEMA20. And thanks a bunch, everyone, for watching. And take care. We'll see you later.
Bye.